So today I'm going to be sharing some things that I wish I knew when I was starting my career in sales as a BDA slash SDR before moving into an AE slash CE type of role, account executive. What I'm about to share in this video will work for you regardless of what industry you're in. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. Before we dive into the tactical stuff, I want to talk about getting into the right headspace because I spent my first year in sales doing just that. And the reason why I think this is important is because if you're afraid to pick up the phone or if you're easily discouraged by rejections or by prospects, then you're more likely to give up and you're not going to make it very far if you do. While sales may feel like a sprint, it's more like a marathon, in my opinion. The way I see it is that there are three skills in sales. The first skill is in sales is learning how to prospect and book meetings. The second skill is learning how to run meetings. The third skill is learning how to close deals and retain clients. For most people, in my opinion, the first skill is the hardest. This is where you'll see a lot of employee turnover. And it's why most companies require you to be an SDR before you become an AE. For that very reason, we're only going to be focusing on the first skill today, learning how to prospect and book meetings. If you read Atomic Habits, then you know that winners and losers have the same goals. It's our daily habits that actually matter and gets us to our goals. So habits are things that we do so often that it becomes automatic. We rarely think about them. And to put it into perspective, if I waved a magical wand on you that removes all of your bad habits, like scrolling on social media or eating junk food, and I added good habits onto you, like eating healthy every day, going to the gym every day for an hour, or reading every day for an hour, actual productive work for 9 hours a day, you wouldn't recognize yourself. You'd be like, damn, I was capable of that the entire time. I want you to know that you are capable of working a lot harder than you think. You're capable of being disciplined and being consistent. Remember that. Thought habits and thought patterns also exist. And it's my hope that these 5 ideas around being in the right headspace that I'm about to share will help you rewrite some of your current thought patterns that are holding you back. So, number one, if nobody knows about your stuff, they cannot buy your stuff. That is why you're letting people know about your stuff. That is why you are doing cold outreach. Number two, if everyone said yes, then you wouldn't have a job. Shit, I mean, imagine starting tomorrow, every client, every prospect, they were ready to buy. You'd probably be looking for a new career because you'd be laid off because companies wouldn't need salespeople if every prospect and client was ready to buy like that. Number three, the same way that some people don't like ice cream or pizza or seafood, that should not bother you. I might call 10 people and one of them might just hate the sound of my voice, this way that I speak. And it might be one of the people that left this YouTube video from the first minute. And that's okay. If they don't like ice cream, then they don't like ice cream. Stay cool, my friend, because you are the ice cream. Number four, getting no's or wins. Imagine if you're calling someone and emailing them a prospect 15 times each and not a single response. That's time and effort, right? Right. Yeah. So now, what if I told you that prospect will never respond to you because they left the company a year ago? Would you still call an email, or would you be grateful that I told you that no one's on the other side of the phone and email, and move on to someone that you actually have a shot with? Here's the thing. When a prospect tells you no, you're not being punched in the face. You're not being spat on. They're letting you know that it would be a better use of your time calling the next person. I'm truly thankful for no's because your time matters. While everyone else on your team calls dead numbers and are in fear of rejection, you'll know that your odds increase after every no. And that's because you have better odds, you'll win more than them in the long run. And this is why I think sales is a marathon and it's fun. Number 5, imagine if you have a pair of dice, but instead of 1 through 6, it was closer to 1 through 600. And what if I told you that you can roll the dice as many times as you like? And if you roll 599 on both dice, I'll give you $25,000 tax free. I'm willing to bet that you'd roll the dice as many times as you could. Now, what if I told you that the way you actually roll the dice is by making that cold call, by making that cold outreach? You would make as many cold calls and as many cold outreaches as you could. Look, in sales, you typically have a base salary, and then everything thereafter is you working for tips. The same way a waiter or waitress works for tips, you're doing the exact same thing. And so if you want to make money, you have to do what it takes. You can either have a million excuses or you can have $1 million, but you can't have both. Pick your poison. If you pick the million excuses, what you have then is you have the freedom to complain and to blame and to be lazy. The other one gives you financial freedom, but you can't make excuses and you can't be lazy and you can't blame people. And so they each have a price tag, and you have to be willing to pay the price tag. Hard work for $1 million or excuses and being broke. Pick your poison. Okay, so now let's get into the tactical stuff. Your prospect probably gets dozens of calls and emails a week. Probably a majority of them saying, "Hey, is this Bill? Hi, Bill. My name is Tom from ABC Company. Can I get 2 minutes to tell you why I'm calling? How are you?" Can we all agree that if 13 people all use the same pickup line on you or cold called you saying the exact same thing, you'd be more likely to hang up or faster to hang up or faster to say no after every single time? Cool. You agree. Awesome. So that brings me to point number 1. Pattern disruption. Be unique. Be different. There isn't a one size fits all when it comes to cold outreaching. The truth is that any of them really can work. It's how do you make it work? You know, we all have heard it's like 10% of what you say and then 90% of how you say it. Well, that's true because tonality matters. And so even the how are you that some people will call a rookie move, and you know nobody actually gives an F, and you shouldn't say that. But then there are analytics and there are metrics and just stats that prove that it does work from call recordings. I think Gong is a tool that measure this actually. But it's the how do you say how are you? Are you saying it like how are you, or are you saying like how are you, or how are you? You can say hi, is this Bill, or you can say hey Bill. Hey Bill, this is Tom from ABC Company. How are you? How are you? And so let's jump right into inverted learning. So oftentimes we'll hear if you want X goal, you should do X things. But how about if you want to have a shot at X goal of making $1 million, then here are things you might want to avoid. Here are things that you might not want to do. So number 1, sound like everyone else. We touched on this a bit, right? If even if we get cold called and everyone's saying the exact same things, what happens is pattern recognition. If we recognize the pattern, we get bored. We don't like it. That's the reason why we like surprises. It's the reason why we tell people not to spoil the movie for us. Or if you spoil the movie, it's like you ruined it for us. You ruined the goddamn movie, right? So number 2, sound very monotone. If you speak like this and you're just really low energy and you don't really give an F, or you're just smiling and dialing, people can tell that you're being low energy, being monotone. So number 3, make them think that you're there to pitch them. You know, let them know. Make it very obvious. You're there to pitch them. You're there to sell them. And you're there to convince them to buy whatever you have to sell. And that's a great way to let them know you're a salesperson and that they should probably hang up. You know, come off as a sleazy used car salesman. Number 4, give them an easy way out. You can come across very nervous at first, and just sound like a salesperson, and then just ask them for their time. Ask them if now is a good time. Ask them, if they want to talk to you or hear your pitch, and just let them say no. Number 5, don't try to overcome their objection. So if they say, I'm busy right now, or now is not a good time, or just send me an email, and just saying, okay, cool, end of the discussion, thank you, bye, and not trying to overcome the rejection at all, that's a great way to build your book of business. Number 6, don't listen to them. Just wait your turn to speak. This is probably a good one, not just for sales, but in any relationship, right? It's having a conversation. Are you listening to your prospect when they talk about their pain points, when they talk about their dog or their cat, or about what they're doing on the weekend, or whatever the heck they're talking about? Instead of acknowledging what they're saying and responding to what they're saying, you're just waiting your turn to speak. This is a great way to make friends. Yeah, all right. Number 7, lose credibility. Come across as very nervous, stutter over your words, don't know what you're talking about, not familiar with your product, not ready for the objections. Just lose credibility. Just throw it away. Number 8, be unlikable. People definitely want to work with people they don't like. So we should be rude, do things that make them not like us. So be rude, be obnoxious, don't listen to them speak, and just don't let them speak. Better. Number 9, be unrelatable. They're talking about their dogs, they're talking about their family, they're talking about how they're getting tons of cold call and they're annoyed, they're having a hard day, or they're having a bad day. Don't try to empathize, don't try to listen to them, just be unrelatable. And number 10, basically, I wrote be unempathetic. And so, yeah, like I said, disregard their feelings, don't care about how they feel, don't care about what they're saying, just disregard it. Throw it in the trash. Number 11, don't believe in what you're selling. Don't have conviction. Because surely, if you don't believe that you have value to provide, if you don't believe that your product or service can help them, surely they'll believe and they'll buy. That's how it works, sure. So those are 11 things. And so there's a lot more that we could probably talk about when it comes to sales. And there's probably a lot of other sales videos out there. But I wanted to provide what I thought would be the most helpful when starting out in your sales career, probably as SDR, BDA, BDR, they're all the same titles, and then eventually moving on to an AE or CE, which is what I am, account executive, client executive. And so I hope this was helpful. And if it was, I hope that you'll support the channel by hitting that subscribe button, maybe that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.